Hey guys, Kitchen Table Magician here. Today we're going to re-examine those 6 packs of Dominaria that I did an episode on last week with my 6 pack of MTG. After going through it a little bit with a friend of mine and reassessing this card pool a little bit and learning a little bit more about the Dominaria sealed format, it was decided that the blue and white build that I did, while was okay, but that I undervalued the color red in this card pool. So before we begin, I just want to review what I built with this card pool, which was the blue-white with a lot of really cheap creatures and a few flyers and a little bit of removal. So I had Raft Capuchin, and then the white in this pool was a little bit of removal, some decent flyers, but a whole pile of little dirty little things, which was an okay build. There's nothing wrong with it, but we decided that there was actually a better build in here, that I had undervalued the red considerably, and that there was a lot of synergy with the blue mix in this. So we would keep everything that I put in here in blue and then add a couple of things to it. So we have the Cloudreader Sphinx and a couple of Journey Mages and a Relic Runner and a Trickster, and then there was also a Time of Ice and a Syncopate and a Blink of an Eye, and all that would stay. But Scott suggested that I should run Arcane Flight because this format doesn't have a lot of flyers, and I told him, well, I don't generally like to run auras because it's too easy to get 2 for 1, and he said in this format that's actually an okay risk to take in this format if you can get a decent flying body on the field. So he suggested Arcane Flight would be a good card to run. He also said that with the red, Tetsuko Umezawa's Fugitive would be an excellent card to run, and we'll get into that in just a second. I didn't run it with the white blue because there just weren't that many creatures that supported this, but in the red blue there's a lot of support for this. So in the blue, those would be the 2 main changes that would get made. As far as the artifacts go, I would continue to run the Glider, the Tome, Traxas, and the Jousting Lance. And the rest of that is basic land. So let's look at the red. Let's see what I missed. Let me scrape it off here. I'll move the rest of this card pool out of the way. Basically, everything in red is playable. Believe it or not, and I'm just not used to playing with cards like this. I'm uncomfortable playing with auras and enchantments in general, but in this format, we can get there. So, Frenzied Rage is playable. Warlord's Fury basically reads 1 red, draw a card. This other sentence is just a little bit of upside, so that's actually pretty good. And then we have another combat trick. And then the Flame of Keld, which will let you reload. And then I believe the rest of this is mostly creatures. Let's see what else we got here. I should have organized this a little bit. Oh, we do have a couple of decent pieces of removal. Now, I had mentioned in my first video that what I didn't like about this is that it's at sorcery speed and you cannot target a player with it. But irregardless, this is a very good piece of removal. So it can take out an artifact and it can hit a really large creature. And in this format, there aren't a lot of really large creatures, so this is very good. And then Wizard's Lightning, we will be able to get there. There's enough wizards in this mix that we'll get there with the 1 red mana a lot of the time. All right, so what I missed with Tetsuko Umezawa's Fugitive is the fact that I have 2 Keldon Overseers here that are 3/1 with haste. And Tetsuko can make those unblockable. And if this is kicked a little later in the game, you can actually swing the game more in your favor by gaining control of an opponent's creature. So this is very, very good. Lavamancer is just very aggressive. Little 1-drop. And it has the potential to become a 2/2 with haste. This is a bomb in the format. In a format that is full of 2s and 3/3s and 3/1s, anything that's got 4 power and toughness is a bomb. Obviously, it's got a little bit of downside, but that's negligible, especially if you can give it some combat tricks, the Warlord's Fury, the Frenzied Rage. Give it a little combat trick, you'll be just fine. So this is also a bomb. This is another 4/4. It's just, see, when I initially read it, I just read 4/4 for 4 because the rest of this requires you to flip a couple of coins and do, and in my opinion, I just didn't see any. It's a little bit of upside, but not enough for me to consider it to be anything great. But in this format, in a sealed format, this is actually very, very good. It's another 4/4. So I have 2 of those in red. So gonna go that way. And then another Frenzied Rage. So all of red is playable. Mix it correctly with the blue. And I do believe there's a better deck here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this together and show it to you real quick. Okay, so here's the rebuild in a nutshell. I played with basically all the red. The only red that I cut was the Fervent Strike and the 2 Warlord's Furies. And we'll get into that in a second. I basically kept all the blue that I had before with the addition of Arcane Flight and Tetsuko Umezawa's Fugitive. So we'll just go through this real quick. At the bottom end, we have the Arcane Flight and the Ghitu Lavarunner, which is just a nice, potentially 2/2 haster. The Flight gives one of your guys +1/+1 in flying. We kept the Tome, kept the Jousting Lance, the 2 Frenzied Rages, which will give a guy +2/+1 in menace. There's 2 of those. Again, this is a little out of my comfort zone playing auras like this, but I think the deck can get there, and I'll show you why in a second. Blink of an Eye we kept. It's a little piece of removal. Okay, what we want to try and do here is abuse the Flame of Keld a little bit. We want to set this up so that we discard our hand, reload our hand. So when you play this, you basically want to discard either an empty hand or a hand that maybe has just a basic land or something in it, if you still have a basic land in your hand. Reload your hand a little bit, but then we want to really fire off on 3. We want to get ourselves set up so that basically you can get one of these Keldon Overseers through, probably for a kill, because it'll deal it deals that much damage +2. So let me read the bottom part. If a red source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals that much damage +2. So if you can get this guy in for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that's a big swing. And you've got 2 of these on the table. So if these guys both have menace and you can get them both through, that's like 14 points. If you can finish that off with the Wizard Lightning, that's lethal all in one shot. So we want to try and abuse this a little bit. I think we'll be able to get there because we have lots of good card draw with the Urza's Tome. And we have some card draw someplace else. I can't remember where it is. But we do have some other card draw. And also, I think we'll be able to keep our opponent's field free and clear because we have Blink of an Eye, we have Time of Ice, we have 2 Journeymages. So I think that we can keep our opponent's field, relatively free of barriers. Also, we have a Coral Trickster, which taps something out as well. So, and Tetsuo Umezawa. So we should be able to get enough early damage in between Tetsuo and the Overseers and a few other little unblockables that we can set up the Flame of Keld for a late game kill. So there is a lot of synergy here. So what else is in the deck is the Wizard's Lightning and an Aesthir Glider along with the Overseers. And then as you go further up, you have the Time of Ice for tapping things out. And then we have a series of really good bodies here in the 4-drop slot. We've got Traxas, the Scourge of Kroog. We have the 2-headed Giant. And we have the Rampaging Cyclops. All of these are really good in the 4-drop spot. These are all pretty bomby creatures in this format. And then at the top end, we have our really good Fiery Intervention. We have a nice flyer with the Sphinx. And we have a couple of bouncers. These are basically Mana Wars with a little bit higher cost. But like I said before, I love playing Mana War, and I love playing this type of an ability on a creature. And then I just have my Syncopate up here at the top because it's an X spell, and I'm not sure how you would play it. And then I just rounded it off with 9 mountains and 7 islands. So that's the rebuild. This is a build that I think looks a lot better than the white and blue build that I put together initially after reassessing the card pool with a friend of mine and going through some things that I missed. yeah, I think this is really cool. This would be a much better build to go play with. Okay, well, as always, thanks for watching. And if you like this video, want to see more of this content, then thumbs up and subscribe. And we'll see you next time.